Have you ever thought about making comb honey? Well, it's not all that difficult to do. You can go out and you can buy those expensive kits, or you can make something at home, just using recycled materials and what's available. Now, if you hang around for a couple of minutes, I will show you exactly what I've been doing over the last few weeks. Good morning everyone, and welcome to a series of small clips I'm going to put together on making some homemade comb. Now, as you can see here, I've got a frame that I made a couple of years ago. I've been experimenting for quite a while now, just to see if I could come up with something that was going to work in a hive. Now, this frame does work. If I put a disc or a small cylinder of material in here, add some foundation on the inside, or starter strips, the bees will draw that out and I can end up with a nice little circular section of comb. The difficulty with this particular design is that the comb is very hard to pull out. So what I've done is I've modified this frame and I've made it a frame that actually pulls apart. Now, I've got a couple of test frames in a hive at the moment, and I'll go and show you that a little bit later on. Now, initially when I designed this, I started putting timber in here. I was steam bending strips of timber. It worked quite well, but I've veered away from that because I found something else that I can use. How about that? Food grade Pepsi bottle. You can see it's still got a little bit of water in it. I've just rinsed it out. And all I do is, if I grab another one, is tear the label off, and you can see that in the center section there of that 1.25 litre bottle, I've got a cylinder. Now what I can do is I can cut that cylinder down into pieces. And basically what I can do is I can put those into this circular frame, and all I do is I flex them slightly, pop them in, and they sit in there nicely. Now they're going to hold in place. That one's not quite perfectly aligned. It's a bit hard to do it with one hand, but anyway, what I can do is I can put a starter strip in here, or I can cut a full disc of wax and I can hold that in there. Now I'll show you that on another video, but at the moment all this was intended for was an introduction to what I'm trying to do in the experiment in the hive. So what I'll do is I'll suit up and I'll take you down and I'll show you the two frames that I have in the hive. One hive frame is about 35 millimeters thick. The other one is about 30 millimeters thick. I'm just experimenting with the different widths. And of course, everything is governed by the bee space. I place a frame of honey on either side. The bee space is basically correct so that the bees will draw out the comb and fill it with honey and then cap it off. Now, this is going to be great for Christmas presents, for members of the family, and also for friends. Being a recycled material, obviously, I'm not going to be able to do this commercially, but if you're able to obtain these containers new, I believe it's going to be an ideal solution. Now, the thing I do like about these is that because they're clear, we should be able to look in on the side and actually see the comb structure. So I'm really looking forward to having a look at that. Okay, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes when I get suited up, and we'll go down and make an inspection and see how the bees are drawing out this comb. I'm at the hive now. As you can see, it's quite strong. I don't want to give it too much smoke. Let's have a look and see what this frame is going to be like. And as you can see, it's bubbling with bees. And just a small amount of smoke. And there we have it. The bees have done a great job. This particular frame is 35 millimeters thick. And you can see I've got some special clips on here. I'll show you at another date what I've done there. This is just about finished. They're capping over this honey here. You'll notice one problem with the starter strips though. The bees like to leave themselves little access points. But if I turn this around, you can see they've done a pretty darn good job. And they've drawn it out quite thick, so I need to close the frames up a little bit. Now looking at that, I would say possibly another week and this will be ready to go. I'll pop this one back in the hive and we'll have a look at the other one. Now the second frame. I used thin foundation on it. It's been on the hive for 2.5 weeks. And as you can see, they've done a great job there. It looks as though that's going to come up nicely. And I would say another 2 or 3 weeks, as long as there's a honey flow continuing, we should have these little sections all complete and ready to take out. All right, I'll put that back into the hive and we'll close this hive up. Well, I'm quite pleased with the way the bees are drawing that comb out. Now I'll be able to take those little discs of comb out fairly soon, and I'll be able to package it up and I'll be able to give it to family and friends. Not a bad way of using recycled materials, and as you can see, the results are going to be quite impressive. Anyway, probably in a week's time or so I'll show you how I make those frames and make all of the components. You can see the bees are getting a little bit excited here, so I'll finish off for today. So until next time, cheers for now.